There are about 30,000 cases in the US a year, and there's about 750,000 cases of HPV related cancers worldwide a year. Currently, up until recently, there's like many other solid tumors, there's been no real good treatment for these patients. They tend to receive chemotherapy, which makes them live a couple months longer, sometimes a year or two longer. More recently, in the last year or two or three, there have been the development of the checkpoint inhibitors, which target proteins, either PD-1 or PD-L1, which protect the cancer from the immune system. And these drugs have been evaluated for a whole host of solid tumors, and they generally, in most solid tumors, including HPV-associated cancers, including head and neck, anal and cervical cancer, produce responses in about 15 or 20% of patients. And these are usually durable responses. When patients respond, they usually respond for a year or two, or maybe even longer. The drug that we're evaluating, called M7824, blocks this protein PD-L1, but also blocks another protein that the cancer uses to protect itself from the immune system, a cytokine actually. It's called TGF-β, and there have been large genome-wide association studies comparing thousands of patients with HPV-related cancers to patients without cancer, and they've looked at the immune pathways, the genes, the proteins, to see what could be something that could be targeted, what's different in the patients with cancer that's different from patients without cancer. And they found that this specific protein, or actually this receptor, TGF-β receptor, is significantly overexpressed in these cancers, and that this immune pathway is significantly associated with these cancers. And so there's some logic to trying to see if we can block this pathway, as well as block the PD-L1 pathway, which has had some success in these cancers. And so we conducted a phase 1 trial of a drug called M7824, which blocks both of these pathways. And we conducted in all solid tumors, and we enrolled initially 36 patients, but at this point the drug has been tested in over 500 patients. And so we just looked at the patients with HPV-related cancers and the 36 patients that we enrolled. We were just trying to get an early feel for how effective it was compared to just PD-L1 inhibition alone. And so we saw that about 35% of patients, not respective of their HPV status, just including head and neck, anal and cervical cancers, responded to this treatment. And of patients who had HPV positivity, or we knew we could detect that their cancers were due to HPV, we saw a 42% response rate. And all of these patients continued to respond. Happy to answer any questions about that.
Were there any dose-limiting toxicities or any maximum dose levels?
So we evaluated 5 dose levels. At dose level 4, there was one one DLT of colitis. As a standard phase 1 trial, we will only call a maximum tolerated dose if we have 2 DLTs out of 6, and we did not have 2 DLTs at any dose level, nor do we have any other DLTs at any other dose level. And so no, there was no maximum tolerated dose. And the standard dose that's going to be used for the recommended phase 2 dose is going to be 1,200 milligrams flat dose, and that's based upon pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic modeling that has been done.
So trial ongoing, or are there plans to escalate into a phase 2 based on the response
So
data?
there's now actually an ongoing phase 2 trial specifically for M7824 in HPV-associated cancers. And there's also ongoing phase 1b expansion cohorts in other disease tumor types as well.